But we're going to go right to our first guest, and with me I have Joyce, Jamie, and John Chupka. And they're authors of a book, and we have the book right here. It's called It Went Without Saying. And we're going to find out how the story came about and what it is about. Joyce, maybe you want to start us. We do have some photographs. Maybe you can kind of watch the screen and then talk about those and give us an idea, and then we'll go to everybody here.
Okay. The book is the story of our family, but it's really the story of every family. And it is told in the three of our voices. So it's written as a conversation. When you read it, you feel as if you're sitting at our kitchen table talking about events that occurred in the course of our life and in Jamie's growing up. Mm-hmm. Jamie was a much loved, this is her coming home from the hospital, child. And so it's just stories of events that occurred that seemed like they were very normal events. Mm-hmm. But put together, we started to realize that something ominous was happening in our family. And that was that Jamie was falling into a pattern of addiction. And no one else believed it, including us.
It's hard to accept that.
We wrote the book because the devastating thing about addiction is that denial is what keeps everybody from facing what's really happening.
The elephant in the living room?
Yes. So we wrote the book so that other families could see what happened in a family just like theirs, and perhaps be able to talk about it before it gets to be as ominous as what we faced.
Now, we should say that you are the founder of Vision Power Consulting. Is
Yes.
that right?
Yes.
So you have some, feel for some of the feelings that go on out there.
I do, and I actually was working during the course of my life for 30 years in state government. I served 3 governors, 9 commissioners, and much of the time passing legislation dealing with alcohol, drunk driving.
So you had really a feel for it. Now, Jamie, you're the centerpiece here, and you are now a counselor,
yes.
right? In alcohol and substance abuse. I think you're in the process of getting certified for
yes.
some of that too.
Yes.
But you are now working with people that have gone through this.
Mm-hmm.
So what better person to do this is one that understands.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I were to do it, I couldn't really relate because I've never been in that position, but because you have, it seems like that's just perfect. Your dad is sitting next to you, John. And John, you are the founder of the Forgiveness Center.
Yeah.
Did that have any impact on your book, or did that come after? What happened?
No, I was doing Forgiveness Center during the process of our recovery, or Jamie's recovery, and so a lot of the principles about forgiveness were important in terms of figuring out how we're going to get through this together. So I was very active counseling, doing seminars and teaching about forgiveness during this process.
So you all 3 of you, I mean, you were in the center piece here, but you had this feeling. How did you get help for Jamie? Or Jamie, did you find your own help?
For myself, I know I wanted help long before I got it. I knew that I had a problem probably when I was about 18. By 18, I was, if I were to diagnose myself then, I would have been an alcohol dependent.
Okay.
And I didn't get help until, as they say, I hit bottom.
They say that usually you have to hit bottom.
It was either, I wasn't living anymore, I was just existing. And it was either, I came to the point where I didn't want to go on anymore. I just didn't want to go on. I didn't know that there was another way. It was either, I didn't know that there was another way. It was either use, drink, or die, and I thought that dying was going to be an option several times.
May have been.
And I was very close.
May have been the result of that. Did you at any time, and this is a tough question, did you ever at any time during this think about what your parents were going through?
Yes, and as soon as I felt any kind of feeling, the guilt, the shame, the remorse, all of those feelings that would surface, I would use again to not feel those feelings, because it's a vicious cycle. You know, once I felt that,
so you had to erase that by
Right.
taking something to get that.
Because I already felt like I wasn't
Yeah.
good enough. There was
Yeah.
there was a part of me, even as a young child, that felt like I wasn't okay, like I wasn't good
But you
enough.
see through the pictures that your parents loved you, cared about you. You were
Yes.
probably treated like a little princess.
I was.
Yeah.
I was, and in fact, that's right in the book that I had enough love for probably 3 children, and there was still something in me that felt different, that felt like I didn't belong, that I wasn't okay, that I was not worthy, at
Through
a young
counseling,
age.
were you able to discover that? Or
Yes.
were your parents part of this?
Oh yes.
Okay, because you don't treat just one person; you treat the whole system.
You have to.
I think, we write the book and we tell these stories about events that happen. They seem so innocent. There was a high school dance, and one of the girls wound up in the hospital.
Too much alcohol.
Too much alcohol.
That's
All the
tragic.
parents at the school said, "Oh no, not our children. It's the kids from the other side of the track." It's
Even if there aren't any tracks, they're the
Right. He said, no. It's our children. It's the children we love. We were always there. We were home when Jamie came home. Her friends are all at her house. These are good kids. And one of the things that Sheila Bloom, who was the Commissioner of Alcoholism, used to say is that alcohol doesn't discriminate.
It does not.
It takes no prisoners.
No.
Good people can die if they drive drunk. So, that's something that I think one of the reasons that we're stressing in this book is, these were good people. We are good people. Jamie was a good person. And at some point we thought, if we just love her enough, she'll get better. And, she told us at one point that the more we loved her, the worse she felt.
Dad, how did you take that? How did you feel about this?
It was very difficult for me. I grew up in an alcoholic family myself, so one of the things that we talk a lot in the book is the use of denial. And denial on one level is a very healthy thing because it helps us deal with
Cope.
Horrible things that occur in our life. But in my case, it was like a good potion gone bad. After a while, I didn't want to know. I used the same techniques I did as a kid in my family with Jamie, so I didn't really want to know. I denied how much it was happening, and that became a source of tremendous conflict between Joyce and myself, and I think that's the same with every family and dynamics, whatever elephant is in the room, whether it be addiction or whatever. So the more I denied, the more Joyce had to push, the more she pushed, the more I denied, and it just got to be a very difficult thing till finally it became something that you just could not deny anymore. And in order to deal with denial, one has to be somewhat stable with yourself enough to be able to deal with what it is that's happening in your life, and to forgive yourself for being a co-contributor,
forgiveness
right?
there,
Because the addiction just wasn't something in Jamie. It was what I was contributing to by not seeing it, by not saying something earlier. There was a part in the book where I mentioned, when you're a kid and you're dealing with an alcoholic family, one of the things that you do, you're always adjusting. It's always defense.
You have to.
Yeah, you adjust,
it's
adjust.
self-preservation.
So when addiction came into our family, now I adjusted to it rather than saying there's no room for it here.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of a series of mistakes that I made. So part of writing the book is to say, look at we all do this, and we want to share this experience so that another child,
You're reaching out to our viewers.
doesn't have to go through this again. Another parent doesn't have to go through this again. And if somebody reads it and said, here I am, maybe that will help.
How long did it take, Jamie, for you to go through, call it rehab? Is that what or what do they call it? I don't know.
Well, there are rehabs,
Okay.
and I was institutional. I was institutionalized.
Okay, well, see,
in the rehab.
I didn't read the book, so
Yeah,
I'm kind of
no,
working
it's
through
okay.
it. Yeah.
But you will.
Yes, I know. I'm going to read it.
It took me, let's see, I was 16 years. I drank and used for, almost died, was almost killed, traumatic events. And the first I went into an alcohol treatment center, drug and alcohol treatment center.
Okay.
When I was 30, right? 30, yeah. So, and it took me about a year to get clean and sober. I participate in 12-step fellowships, so there are many ways that people
many ways
recover.
to do,
but
yeah. So and you're clean and sober, and not
Yep.
only that, but
No.
you're helping other people.
Yeah.
That's really wonderful.
Yes.
Where would they get the book?
They can get the book online,
Okay.
and I think we have a website.
Sure.
It went without saying
Yeah.
.com.
Yep, it's right there.
It's right there. So just go
Okay.
to www.itwentwithoutsaying.com. And again, I think everyone who reads it. The other thing is, over the years, we wrote to each other, and I would write to Jamie when I was so frightened and frustrated. And I would write because I didn't want to say something I couldn't take back.
Yeah.
So I would write her letters, and she would write back. And even in the depths of her using, she saved all the letters. She moved many, many times. And so we had this body of letters that, over the 20 years or so, about our concerns and what was happening and how much we loved her and where this road leads you. And we knew that that this happened. We do believe that everything happens for a reason, and that if you take a stand, you can heal people. And
that's the message that your
That's the
book
message.
has. I want to thank you all for being here. I know that you have an event coming up you wanted to mention briefly, or
Yep, and November 3rd, we're doing a forgiveness seminar called Ferry Ride to Forgiveness, which really talks about how to let go of your grudges, how to deal with a place of strength with difficult situations in one's life.
okay. And we have that website on my newsletter, so go to my website and check that out. I want to thank you all for being here. You have a story that needs to be told, and you are telling it. So thank you for being here.
Thanks.